Hi, everyone, and welcome to my knitting podcast number 3. It took me 2 months to get back here, and the reason why is that I didn't knit it much. Maybe because we had early summer in California, and I'm not much into like summer knits girly, or because I was actually on my sewing rampage. I don't know about you guys, but I don't know. I feel like in the last couple of months or even like last year, I see more and more people doing sewing and I always wanted to do sewing, but like I just never could. I don't know. It just never stuck to me. I tried in 2021. I tried again every year, but this year I don't know why. But for me, it's finally the year of sewing. I did so many items. I was actually even debating whether I should show these items on this vlog or not, and then I decided to separate it because I don't think that knitting and sewing is that interconnected yet, but I see it's growing as a trend. Anyway, let me know if you want to know about sewing. I think at some point I will do some sewing content because it's something that inspires me, but I think I will just post it as a separate video so people can choose what to watch. So I didn't do much knitting, I did more sewing, but actually I did finish a couple of garments. I finished 2.5 garments. How is it possible that I finished 2.5? I will let you know in a moment. I also decided to give summer knits another chance this year because usually, like last year, I think I didn't do any summer knits, and I had quite some results. I even filmed lots of content about that. So if you haven't watched it, go check it out. Let's get with the finished garments. You're probably wondering, Stella, what are you wearing right now? So this is the number one item that I finished, this top. I also finished something that you already remember from my previous vlogs. It's this cardigan. It's a cashmere cardigan that was a sweater first, but then I decided to change it into cardigan. I don't remember why, but I told about it in my podcast number 2. And then I said I actually finished 2.5 garments. And the reason the reason I finished 2.5 because I have another project that's almost finished. It's like literally I need one evening and it's gonna be done. And basically blocking, but so let me show you that. Wait, I think I'm unraveling it when I'm pulling it like that. So it's a shirt. It's crocheted. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention when I decided to give a chance to summer knits, I'm extremely into crochet right now. So this is this shirt. And basically I just need to add 3 more rows of collar and it will be done and basically put the buttons. So you're not gonna see this video, but you're probably gonna see it either in my Instagram or in my next podcast. Wait a minute, I actually have something else. There is actually another technically small item that I finished. It's a collar. I actually haven't blocked it yet, but I don't like it. But the problem is not only I don't like how it looks, but it's also too long, if you can see. And I wanted something that's like shorter. Also, I actually did lots of swatching. If you can see, I went crazy and I did so many swatches. I think most of the time I actually spent on swatching. And also, I think I spent a lot of time just redoing things. For example, this cardigan, I had so many alterations. This orange short that I showed to you, this one, I think I redid sleeves 6 or 8 times. I just couldn't figure out the sleeve that I like. Also, this particular shirt, you can actually see that I actually knitted it twice. The first time it just was too large because I wanted it oversized, but then I realized you can't have it oversized, otherwise it's going to be too open for my taste. Yeah, so I think I spent lots of time redoing things, and also if you remember my projects from my previous podcast, it's my wave sweater. I unraveled the one I showed you in that video. I restarted it again, and now I might unravel it again. I don't know. I just can't get to the right fit. And it's almost like it's almost weird to do. Yeah, it's almost weird to do knitting podcast because you kind of want to show things, but it seems like you're just showing the same items over and over. That was another reason I didn't film anything. But I think I will not make this mistake again. I'm kind of trying to make one podcast per month, and let's see. Let's see. I don't know. Either I just gonna include more of a sewing content if I don't have anything for knitting, or I have to come up with something else. Meanwhile, while I was gone, I actually did do some videos for you. I did a video about the knitting machine, and this is something that may require an update because I think my first knitting podcast started with the knitting machine. And then I kind of neglected to mention it in my second podcast. And the reason why I neglected to mention is I had a major fallout, and there were months when I didn't even touch the knitting machine. And I was even thinking, like, why you keep keeping it? Maybe you should get rid of it. But then I decided that maybe I have another year. So to be honest, I'm even wondering myself, like, should I get rid of it or not? But then I decided maybe let's have a full year of owning a knitting machine, and maybe I will finally like it. Because in winter, I tried winter items and I didn't choose the right yarn, and I was just not very excited. Then I decided that the knitting machine is great for summer yarns, and I actually used the knitting machine to finish parts of this, and I will talk about it later. But I realized, I don't know, none of the yarns I have work well with a knitting machine. And I did many swatches, many experimentations, and I don't know, I'm cursed. And I see people like other bloggers successfully knitting things with a knitting machine, but I think like either they don't have the same yarn as I have and they are better at choosing yarns, or they just do projects I don't want to. I don't know, something's wrong. But at the same time, the other day I heard another blogger saying that they have very complicated relationship with their knitting machine, and I'm like, okay, I'm not alone. Yeah, so I'm giving this knitting machine more and more chances, but let's see how it will turn out. Another content that I posted was about summer knitting because, as I said, I decided to give it another chance and dive into summer knitting. I actually filmed more than I published because some of the videos that I published, they were so that I filmed, they were so chaotic that I decided to just scrap them. But if you haven't watched, you can check out. I actually shared all my summer garments that I already made, and I discussed them. And the funny part was like while I was doing it, I actually realized they are more cute than I think about them. So when they are sitting in my closet, I'm like, I don't want to wear them. They kind of look weird. I just remembered something. Oh my god, I just remembered something. Anyway, so when I was thinking like I don't like them, they're ugly, but then when I started showing it on the camera and during editing, I was looking at them and I'm like, what's wrong with you, Stella? They're actually extremely cute. And this is actually another item I almost forgot. Unfortunately, I don't have it right now because it's in the laundry, but I will. I have some clips with it, so I will add them on the screen. So there was a T-shirt that I knitted. I think my first year of knitting, and I did use it a little bit when I just finished it because I was so excited about it. But then eventually I was like, it's not that good. So this year, what I did, I actually not upcycled it, but I did some alterations to it, and I was actually wearing it and enjoying it. So you will see some clips. So actually, technically, I have another finished garment, which is not a finished garment. So, but this is also another thing. If you have a knitted item that you like but don't quite wear, I think just experimenting on it is a good idea. So I actually have a few more summer items that I don't wear. So I'm thinking like maybe I should somehow upgrade them, add some embellishments on them, and maybe then they will become something like almost like give them a second life. So this is maybe something for my next podcast. If I do more of those projects, I will show you. Okay, so now let's talk about each of the projects. I will start with this one since it's on me. Let me grab my notes so I can give you as much information as possible in case if you're like me and you like to get all the information. Okay, so this top, it's called a Darjeeling top by Trust My Mojo. I got a pattern on a Ravelry, and I remember, and I think I also included this top in my summer knitting plan, so I talked a little bit there. Anyway, so about this particular garment, I made it cropped, and I think I made it even more cropped than the initial pattern called, but I'm a short person. I'm 1 meter 50 centimeters, or around like 5 feet tall, 5 feet tall, 5 feet short. Yeah, so I made it shorter. And to be honest, if I was doing it now, I would make it even more cropped because I wanted it to be like as summer as it gets. Unfortunately, it didn't turn out how I planned it initially, but I grew to like it, and I'm wearing it like second day in a row. And I'm actually really liking it. So again, the garment, it's 36 centimeters long and 46 centimeters wide, and I have around like 6 centimeters of positive ease. If you are in inches, everything will be on a screen. But technically, it's like 14 inches long and 18 inches wide and around 2 inches positive ease. When I talk about positive ease, I add, this is the positive ease that is added to the full oh, I don't like this word, circumferences. Okay, it's another word I can't pronounce. I need to go and practice. Oh my God. So the yarn I used is just some super cheap cotton yarn that I ordered from like a random website like yarn.com or something like that. Because I wanted, like I was looking for this particular color. I wanted to get this specific color. They call it Kingfisher blue. There are, I think, other names for this color, but it's like, it's very particular. It's bright, but it's a certain shade of bright. And it's like, it's not purple. It's more like in a cold tone, but it's not too dark. And it was really hard. I actually ordered yarn. So this yarn, when I ordered, it looked much lighter, but it turned out very dark. So it was really hard to find this color. And when I saw it, I'm like, okay, let's order this yarn. It's cheap. I think I only spent total like $10 on this garment, yarn-wise, plus the buttons, but they were not super expensive. Yeah, so I wanted this particular color. I actually initially planned to do it in a different yarn, just kind of similar color. So this is the yarn, but this is a merino yarn. And first I was thinking like this will be a good idea to make it, but then I was worried it's going to be too warm and too drapey. I wanted like a stiffer yarn. In general, obviously, this is not the yarn like this yarn. This is not the yarn I can recommend. It's kind of weird. It was not super pleasant to knit with. It was not difficult, but also it's like super heavy because the garment is like 200 grams. So for such a short, small garment, it's really heavy. I don't think it will be good for a warm summer, but the climate, as I mentioned in my summer knits videos, the climate where I live, I tend to wear t-shirts more than tops because it's not that warm. So for me, it's fine, but it's like definitely not the yarn. I haven't used this type of yarn for a while, and I'm like, oh, I understand why I'm like so skeptical about this cheap yarn. Not because it's cheap, but just the quality wise. It's not the best cotton in your life. So I used 4 balls of this yarn, and this is around like 340 meters, I guess. My gauge was almost similar to initial pattern, like a little bit different. That's why I think I didn't fit in size. That's why, as I said, I did option number 1. And I was like, okay, this is too wide. And the problem with this T, when you bend down, it can open up a lot. So I realized when I was finishing this, because I almost finished it, I just had to add the straps. And I was like, okay, this is too wide and I wouldn't be able to wear it as a summer top. Another thing about this particular yarn, which I mentioned in my summer knits video, every time I work with cotton, I remember why I hate working with cotton. I don't know if you can see, but this is very uneven, stitching, and you can see the rows. And no matter what I do, I tried to steam it. I like whatever I did, it just didn't go away. So when I redid the second version, first of all, I had to knit one size down. So I started with the initial pattern, but I did a size down, and I finished this part, basically the lacing part. I finished it with my needles. But then I put the whole thing on a knitting machine, and I finished it with the knitting machine. And then I just went back to knitting on the needles, and I finished the I-cord rib. So basically, this tee can actually be opened. So it's not a fake buttons, how sometimes it goes. Yeah, so it actually opens. I'm not sure if I'm gonna use it, the opening, but I decided to keep it in case if I will ever wear it on a t-shirt, like as a vest. So the way how this top is knitted, you start from the bottom. You start with this piqué, or I don't know what's the name of this, picot. Actually, it's kind of cute. I never did this type of bottom, so I was actually curious to do it. And then basically you knit back and forth. You knit flat, but you knit the whole thing, so you don't split front and bottom. And only when you reach the straps area, then you start splitting for a back, for a left and right panel. When I transferred my stitches on the knitting machine, I have LK150, I realized I don't have enough needles. So I had to split. So in my case, I have bottom. I had a side seam here and here. I don't have it in this one because this one was hand knitted. So you can see it's like a. Let me actually open it. Can open it for you to show you. But then, unfortunately, on the knitting machine, I had to add a seam. It wasn't very difficult, but at some point, I had to constantly recount the stitches because I realized if I don't match the stitches, something would go wrong. In terms of okay, let's discuss the pattern. In terms of the pattern, I mean it's quite simple. It's quite easy construction, although this part looks a little bit complicated, but she has in her pattern several explanations how to do this at the bottom. And in general, I didn't have any issues with the pattern. The only issue I had with the pattern, actually, she doesn't have wait, I think she doesn't have a schematic. No, she doesn't have a chart for this lace. And this is something it's like always pisses me off because I don't like to read knit two, yarn over, knit one, yarn over, knit one, repeat it 5 times, yarn over, I don't like to do it. Just show me the chart. So I don't know why, but when I follow the written instruction, like knit one, purl two, knit one, purl two, I always make mistakes. I don't know. My brain doesn't grasp it. I need to see the chart because I'm better, I think, visual in terms of pictures. I don't know, maybe I'm dyslexic. I don't know, or something like that. But anyway, so I had to redo it so many times until I figure out how to do it. And that was like one thing I didn't like in this pattern. Otherwise, like I didn't have any issues with the pattern. And one thing I have to say, the reason I actually bought this pattern, you can it's a very easy lace. You can figure out how to do it. But first of all, obviously, I didn't want to spend time on figuring it out. But what I like about this pattern, and don't look at me. I will actually show you the pictures of the actual person who created this pattern. I like this shape. So the neckline shaping, the shoulder shaping, the straps. I really like how it looks like because often when people do the summer garments, at least in my opinion, they always have a weird placement of straps. The straps are too narrow or they're too much in front, and then you have like a side boob sticking out, or sometimes the neckline is just not a nice shape. But this particular garment, I wanted to copy it because she has a very nice. Unfortunately, mine doesn't look as hers. I actually folded to the T, so I did the same, the same armhole openings, the same how to say like neckline opening. But the only thing that I changed, I don't know why, now I regret it, I made the straps wider. So I added extra stitches, so I basically decreased less stitches. And the problem is because I was knitting on the knitting machine, and on the knitting machine, everything is very stretched out and it looks narrower than it will be eventually when you remove from needles because it's like stretched out with the weights. And when I looked at it, it's like, oh my God, I didn't want to have, I don't like narrow straps. And I was like, oh my God, it's going to be too narrow. So I freaked out and I redid it. I actually redid it a couple of times and I kept it wide. But what I didn't realize that the end finish will be a I-cord, and I did I-cord with 4 stitches. When I did the I-cord, now it's like too wide. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to be redoing it. I just redid this item way too many times already. Yeah, so if you like this particular pattern, do it. I like everything. I like the construction. I don't know. I don't have any issues with it. The only thing, as I mentioned, I had to make it shorter. So obviously, since you're knitting from bottom top, you have to decide it in advance, like how long you want to keep this part. The reason mine doesn't look like hers, because I was super concerned that if I wear this item in summer and if I bend down, everyone will be seeing my boobs. I understand some people have a type of lifestyle when they, like, let's say you wear it to the coffee shop or see your friends and you don't necessarily bend down. I bend down all the time because I deal with dogs. So sometimes you need to like fix the harness, clip the leash. So in my case, I have very active. No, I don't have an active lifestyle. That would be like, I just have the way how I move around the world, around my life. I don't know. The way how I do, like, I can't have things that my boobs will be sticking out. And it's not that I'm worried somebody seeing my boob, but just, I, I don't know. I felt like I will not feel comfortable and I will not use it and wear it as often as I want. That's the idea. And actually, I heard another person who was knitting this Darjeeling top, Asia, that she said that she doesn't really wear hers because hers is actually following the initial pattern to the T, so she has like a longer straps and stuff. And she said, from what I understood her, that she doesn't wear it as much because of this. So I freaked out and I shortened my straps. That's why it looks like this. But I actually like it. Okay, if I had to rate it, it probably would be like 8 out of 10 because it's not the most perfect yarn. I would probably, if I had a chance now, I would probably redo it in a different yarn. I would make these things shorter, maybe a little bit longer because it's not tight in the armpit, but obviously it can go a little bit lower. But at the same time, I can wear it. It's like it has this boxy fit because my main beef with summer garments, they just don't fit my lifestyle, or I don't understand how to style them. So that's why I'm trying to go more for boxy fits, less like more like a romantic, summery, like whimsical, because this is not my style. And in terms of needles, I used 2.5 millimeter needle to start this. And for the first version, I used 2.5, and then I used, I think, 350 needles, but it turned out to be too much. Yeah, something about summer needs. That's why it seems like why did it take me like a month and a half to knit this, because you are using 2.5 millimeter needles. Obviously, when I did the second version and I added the knitting machine, it speeded up the process. Okay, the next project I want to talk about this one. So this is a Russian designer that I bought pattern for, but I did not like the pattern. I just in general, this pattern gave me lots of, I don't know, lots of grief. So I don't even want to, like, it's not that I would not recommend this pattern. Okay, I don't know. I'm just like, I have a friend with whom I discuss knitting, and I blamed this pattern so much that I still feel like the anger about it. So this is a crochet item, and you know me, for a longest time, I was talking about having a like a polo shirt or crocheted shirt or something like this, but I couldn't find the pattern that I truly liked. So this is the one. So it's going to be short. It's going to have some buttons. I already have buttonholes. I just need to stitch, but I don't have the buttons, so I still have to buy the buttons. And it has this like a collar. So now so this is the bottom part of the collar, but there will be also upper part of the collar. So I think it's called like English collar or something. So I'm still finishing the collar part. And after I'm done, I'm done. So the pattern was quite weird. First of all, the pattern only has 2 sizes. Like, I mean, she calls it S and ML, but in reality, I like, so I'm not a large person, but I was knitting the size 2, I think. I would be knitting the size 2 out of 2 sizes that she has. So I don't quite understand and then but even in that case, I realized this is too narrow because I wanted to have something loose because it's for the summer. And I realized like this item is only for people who are very skinny and also for people who like to wear like things tight. So nobody who is even having a large size can knit from that pattern, in my humble opinion. Which, if I knew that this pattern doesn't have so many sizes, I would not buy it just for a sake not supporting somebody who's not size inclusive. And the pattern was also expensive, so I don't quite understand. But the worst part is that in her pattern, she only gives you all the detailed instructions for one size, which is size like extra small. And then she tells you, oh, just add extra because, it's I didn't talk about this pattern. So this is the same approach as the filet crocheting, when you basically have squares and then some of the squares are filled and some of the squares are not filled. And basically she said, oh, just add like more squares depending on what's your swatch. So basically her pattern is not the ready to knit pattern when you just follow the instructions. This is more like, here is the logic how to do it. Make your own assumptions. Make your own math. If I knew that this is what it is, I would not even buy it because I can do my own math. But the problem is that there was no math. Yeah, and the problem is like, yeah, of course, if you like, let's say if you take her initial pattern and you just add more rows because you want to make it wider, yeah, easy. But then what I realized eventually, you have to recalculate your because if you want to have a wider garment, you need to recalculate the armhole opening because hers was too small for this width. Also, you have to recalculate the shoulder slope. Also, you have to recalculate how you're gonna fit the neckline and stuff like this. So when I was doing this, it also took me a lot of time because I had to read. I think I redid the shoulders a couple of times. That's why I don't know. I was kind of like, what was even that? In general, there is a good side about this pattern. Obviously, I can see the original design. It looks very good on her. Uh, she has very detailed instruction. Each step has a video instruction, which I'm super thankful because this is a crochet, and I never ever crocheted in my life anything like a garment like. So at least I used her videos to understand how to do increases and decreases. 'Cause I never knew how. I don't even know how to do decreases. So now at least I know it, like how to do decreases for the armhole opening, like how to like how to do increases decreases for the collar. So in terms of learning how to do this construction, I think it was super practical for me. So I don't mind spending this money. But I imagine somebody who doesn't want to learn the math, who doesn't want to do the math, who wants to just print or download the pattern and just need something. I don't quite understand what was that. I don't know. That was quite kind of weird. Another thing that I didn't like in that garment, and I will attach lots of videos because I have lots of clips. I did not like how the sleeves turn out. Again, actually, I removed it too early. So I was trying to do something like more modern, if you can call it modern. So this type of sleeve that's more like, I guess, more modern right now. So just a square sleeve, just a drop shoulder and stuff like this. She has more like a set-in shoulder, which I was curious to see how she does it, but I didn't like how she does it. That's why it took me like, I think eight, like I'm not lying, I'm going to show you the footage, 8 attempts to make sleeves, but nothing worked also because I changed the math. So I couldn't fit her numbers into my sleeve. Also, she needs everything flat, including the sleeve. I might even have some some leftover sleeve. So she needs, this is the sleeve. She needs everything flat. She does a shoulder cap, and then you're supposed to sew it in. And how many times? Imagine like you have to knit the whole sleeve, then you spend time sewing it, and then you look at yourself in the mirror, and you're like, "Oh, that looks ugly." So this happened to me so many times, to the point that after like I think 6 attempts, I'm like, "Okay, I'm just abandoning it." I went on YouTube and I found other like people explaining how to do crochet sleeves, and after second attempt, I finally did something that I like. I don't know. Somebody might say that the original design was more stylish or more, I don't know, better, whatever. But I like my design better. Understanding that it's like a first time I am doing something like this, my first garment. So overall, I was glad I found these patterns. I like the design. The instruction, the video instructions were super detailed because if she didn't have video instructions, I would lose my mind because the pattern, the written pattern, I didn't like. Not having sizes, not having calculations for different sizes. This is like, I don't know, this is beyond beyond anything. But otherwise, I like it. The yarn choice was not the best. I used the same yarn. So I ordered yarn for this t-shirt. I also ordered yarn for this because I just wanted some cheap yarn that I will try because I wasn't even sure if I would be wearing it. I don't know if you hear those sounds. My bird is banging upstairs because I banished him to the cage. Usually he's just free flighting, but today he was doing some naughty things, so I had to cage him up during filming, and now he's banging things like a jailbird because he wants to be out. Oh my god. Anyway, yeah. So the yarn choice maybe is not the best, but again, I chose it for the color because again, my plan was that I'm gonna have one blue item and one orange item because I'm really into these colors this year. But unfortunately, when I ordered yarn, I actually filmed it, but I think I was supposed to show it in my summer knits series, but I think I scrapped it because it was just too unorganized. Yeah, so I ordered 2 yarns, and I'll show you more footage. So this is linen and viscose, and this one is pure linen. But unfortunately, the colors were not that. This color is too dark and muted, and this color is extremely dark. And I was like so upset. I'm like, okay, if I spend again so much money ordering, this is actually nice yarn. I hope I use it for something, just don't quite know for what. And I'm like, okay, if I order expensive yarn again and it will be not the right color, I'm going to lose my mind. So instead, I ordered this cheaper yarn. And I'm like, okay, who knows? Maybe I don't even like this construction. But I actually like this construction. And I'm thinking I might make another crochet shirt using the same, like a kind of like a square filet squares method. But I might, do some different design. Yeah, I think otherwise, I like the construction. I think I will be wearing it, but let's see. I still have to finish it and to buy the buttons. Yeah, so in terms of, actually, let me talk about all my projects right now since I already started this topic. Yeah, so as I said, I did lots of swatches, and my plan was to experiment with crochet, experiment with knitting, experiment with the knitting machine. I did bunch of swatches on the knitting machine, but nothing I liked. Either I had hard time because I was trying to do some lacing. Either I had hard time to finishing the lace because the yarn would rip, or I would always make a mistake. I don't know. I just had hard time. Or my plan was to come up with something crochet, or my plan and would not or and my plan was come up with something that I can hand knit. So in terms of hand knits, no, actually let's start with this one. Yeah, so when I was planning this one, I did so many swatches, like swatch number 1, swatch number 2. Let me see, I have more. Micro swatch number 2 or number 3, but I immediately realized it's too thick. Swatch number 4, swatch number 5, swatch number 6. This was the original initial one. Do I have more? Wait. I had like a crazy amount of swatches. Yeah. I don't know. I think I even had more, but I don't know. Probably not. I don't know. Yeah. So what I was looking for some structure. That's why I eventually chose this. There were some swatches that, or some yarns that I really wanted to use, but they were too drapey and too see-through for a t-shirt, and I wanted something that's not extremely see-through. There were actually some swatches that I liked. Like this one was really nice. I don't know, this is the yarn. It's like a cursed yarn that I tried so many projects with, but I keep unraveling them, trying again, unraveling again, but I'm still planning to use it. And also, actually, this swatch I really liked, but I just I didn't want to do this color. So I chose the orange for the shirt, but now I'm thinking I'm actually going to go back to this. This is a cotton yarn, and this is extremely nice. I don't remember the brand. I think it's Puma cotton. It's extremely like nice. It's very like, if this one is like very like rough, very like heavy, very thick cotton, which is going to be, too hot. This one is very drapey, very soft. So I'm planning to make another shirt using this yarn. I actually have two. This yarn I had in my stash since 2022. Yeah, I actually have two colors of this yarn. So I have this one. It's like I guess like a sage, and then I have this, like, I don't know. It's not a caramel. It's like a milk chocolate, like light milk chocolate. So there are two yarns of the same brand I have. The problem for me is that I'm not into my faded era. So when I bought these yarns, I was thinking about wearing like natural colors, and I did wear them for a couple of years, but then I realized like this is not me. I like bright, crazy stuff. Not too crazy, but somewhat crazy. So I'm kind of debating what to do with these guys. But I'm actually extremely into filet knitting because everyone is knitting filet. I usually don't like to follow trends, but filet crocheting, something, I don't know. Do you guys knit anything this year? Like I have a hard time. I really don't like following trends. I mean, no, let's put it this way. I don't like to follow the trend for sake of following the trend. So, there are some type of knitters who are like, oh, everyone is knitting this. I should also knit this. Oh, should I? Like, I was like a type of person that if I like something and then I see everyone is wearing it or everyone is knitting it, I immediately lose interest. But now I'm trying to find the middle ground when I'm like, okay, I don't care if it's trendy or not. If I like it, I'm gonna give myself like maybe a month or two to realize like whether I really want it, because I don't want to need something trendy that I'm not gonna wear the next year. I am this old school type of a person in that regard. I'm not old school in general, but in this regard, I'm like, if I'm gonna need something, I don't care if it's trendy this year or not. I'm planning to wear it forever or for as long as I like it. I don't care about trends. I'm not the type of person, girls, don't wear this anymore. It's not trendy. Yeah, so I realized like the more I see filet crochet garments, the more I like them. So I definitely want to make something. So maybe in the next vlog, you will see something like this. So this is another thing. I want to make something crochet wise, like something unique. I don't want to follow a pattern anymore. Now I understand how to do increases, decreases, and how to do collars, sleeves, and stuff like this. So now I can do something on my own. We'll see. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the amount of swatches, this is crazy. I'm still looking what to do with these guys because this is a very nice, it's like very drapey yarn. This one a little bit thicker. I don't know, maybe I used two strands. I don't know. This is a really nice yarn, but I don't know. I still need to think what to do out of it. My last yarn acquisition, this is a cotton silk. Again, I'm still trying to find a type of summer yarn that is pleasant to work with. And I did the order and I realized like, okay, if I ever want to knit with cotton, it has to have some, it should be mixed with something else, the content wise. Like, for example, this one is a cotton silk, or it should be something like a cotton cashmere or cotton merino, because the cotton is very heavy and it's very like, I mean, at least the yarn, it's often not very pleasant. And it's kind of like, I don't know, how, like too stiff. It's really hard to get something nice out of it. But this one, for example, like it's like very drape. I mean, I know it's a tiny swatch because I was just trying. It's very like soft. It's very pleasant to touch. It's not stiff. I don't know, like, yeah. So I'm still experimenting with yarns. Another plan that I had for this summer, but I don't know if I'm gonna abandon it or not. I wanted to make something like a net, because everyone wearing those sweaters or short t-shirts that you can wear on top of, so basically as a layering piece. I will add some pictures to explain what I mean. And I was trying different like nets. This is a viscose, it's like a ribbon yarn or something like that. But I don't know. I haven't quite found the pattern that I want to use, but I'm thinking about that. I finally came up with like two swatches that I maybe make into garments. So again, you probably have seen this yarn more than any other yarn on this channel. This is a wild silk or burette silk. I don't know, more like eco-friendly silk, stuff like this. So I finally found a pattern. Wait, yeah, it's correct. I don't know if you can see it, but I will add more footage that you can see in a close-up. So I'm gonna make a polo shirt, and I have two ideas. Either I'm gonna just self-draft the polo shirt, and either I'm gonna use this pattern. I mean, most likely because I'm leaning towards it. Or there is another polo that I showed in my summer needs inspiration video. It's called Tuileries Top by Sumina Kim. I really like this polo. If I end up not using this pattern, this is basically just a pattern I found on the internet or in some, some knit books. I don't even remember. Then I will use her pattern to create a polo. So this is my plan. So I'm still into my summer needs because we have a very warm summer. Then I made this simple like stockinette stitch swatch because another color that I really want to add to my wardrobe is like a yellow. This is a little bit more faded than I like, but I like it's like more lemony than like warm yellow because I think I tend to wear more like a cool colors versus warm colors, but it depends. So I'm still thinking what to do with it, and my plan is maybe to repeat the same pattern, but I'm not gonna do the buttons. I'm not gonna do the bottom piece. I'm just gonna make like a simple tee, just following the same patterns. Maybe I will add something else to it, maybe not. I don't know, we'll see. The problem is I might not have enough yarn for the whole tee, so maybe I make like a cropped version, or maybe I will have to add like other yarns to complement. We'll see. And actually, this yarn and these yarns, these are the same type of yarn. So it's like this, like a flat ribbon yarn. I think it's made out of viscose, so it's very drapey. It should be very good for summer. And the cool part about this yarn, like you can knit it with like any definition needle. So this one, for example, I knit it on, let me see, 5 millimeter needle, and you can even do like more definition. Then it's just gonna be like more holy, but I really like this yarn. And I think the ribbon yarn is much better for summer. I think I mentioned in my summer knits video because, for example, the cotton, like this type of cotton, is very heavy. It's very warm. It's very like, it's just too heavy for summer. But this one is like so lightweighted. So I'm actually thinking, I don't know, this year or maybe next year to experiment more with the ribbon yarn, like chain yarns and stuff like that. Like I feel like they give you the thickness, like they give you this almost like the fluffiness without giving you the weight. This is actually the yarn. And again, I had this yarn in my stash since forever. I don't even remember why I bought it. So my next plan, so after I figure out what to do with the filet crochet, my next plan is either use this yarn for a yellow filet crochet item, or I had another plan to make a yellow vest. I saw this yellow vest in the movie Yellow Jackets. I don't know, do you guys watch it? I remember I watched the first season. I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Then I didn't finish the second season. Was like, it's kind of boring. But then by the end of by the time that I saw the third or fourth season, I got so hooked up. I watched it several times now, and one of the girls, she had a yellow vest. I think I have a screenshot. I will add it to the screen, and I'm like, I need this yellow vest. It has to be like a lemony color. So I ordered 3 different yarns. So it looks like so this is one yarn, another yarn, and third yarn. So this is the cotton, and these two are merino yarns. They all look similar, but they are actually different colors. This is a bright yellow, more like a egg, like a egg yolk. This one is like almost like a lime with a little bit of greenish undertone, and this is just a faded yellow. But these are extremely thin yarns, so I'm thinking if I mix them together, they're gonna create the yellow shade that I want. I don't know. So my plan, I haven't even had a swatch yet. Actually, wait, I did try a small. I know I unraveled it. Or maybe not. I don't know. Yeah. So this is my next project. I'm in my bright colors era. That's why, unfortunately, I should probably make a video about this. But I realized something. There is one big reason not to get a big stash of yarn. I did accumulate a big stash of yarn, and now I regret it because if you don't use the yarn you bought within like a couple of months after purchasing it, most probably, like if you have this yarn for a year, even if it's a good yarn, you're just gonna look at it and you're gonna realize like it just doesn't work anymore. For example, this particular yarn, as I said, I bought it in 2022, but then I didn't need it in 2022. And now I look at it, I'm like, it's just too pale of a color for a bright girly like me. And this is why I'm mostly trying to buy yarn for projects now. But then there is a caveat. Even if you try to buy yarn for a project, unfortunately, if you don't buy it offline, like in an actual store, you don't know what you're going to receive. For example, these particular 2 yarns that I just showed you a second ago, I bought them for a project. This was supposed to be this t-shirt. This was supposed to be this t-shirt. Wait, this t-shirt. But the colors were not what I expected them to be. The texture was not what I needed them to be. They just didn't. I couldn't like judge them properly when I saw them on a screen when I was ordering them online. So I had to reorder again. So now I'm gonna end up with this stash. And because I wanted something yellow and I didn't have the right yellow. I mean, I had this one, but I just don't have enough. to make a vest. Plus, this one is a summer yarn, and I wanted something like semi-warm for a vest. So again, now my plan is to do this vest. But if for some reason I don't like the color, I don't like this yarn or something like this, I'm gonna end up with a stash. But what I'm trying to rationalize for myself, I hope I'm not lying to myself, I'm thinking like, okay, at least I have now the collection of different yarns, which is good if you want to do color work. Because the problem with color work is much easier to figure out what to do when you already have a yarn in your possession. You can open your yarn box and you're like, oh, I use this yarn, I use that yarn, I use this yarn, theoretically. I actually want to make a new format on this channel, like a chatty videos when I'm just talk about random topics, because that's what I like to do, to talk about random topics. And maybe this will be the one of the videos I make the first, just discussing the concept of whether you should have a stash, whether you should control yourself from purchasing, whether you should allow yourself to purchase. And I think during my knitting, like 4 years, 5 years of knitting, I had different periods of my life. I had periods of my life when I wouldn't buy anything for almost a year. There would be periods of my life when I would order something every week. Thankfully, it didn't last more than a couple of months. And I don't consider my stash extremely large, but I consider my stash to be a little bit daunting. And by daunting, I mean like I have some very good yarns that I understand if I didn't have those yarns right now, I would never purchase them right now. So what I mean, like for example, this particular yarn, if I didn't have it, I would not need to think like, oh, how do I use it? What do I use it for? Oh my God, I need to use it. I have it for such a long time. I need to figure out a project for it. Instead, if this was on a shelf of a store, I would just walk by. I would just say like, okay, nice yarn, but it just doesn't fit anything. So I'm kind of like trying to go into buying for projects only. But unfortunately, it doesn't work all the time. And also, I know that if you limit yourself too much, if you create this like a, like shopping diet, this is not the right way to do it. Instead, you have to have a right motivation behind it instead of just limiting yourself. Because whenever you're putting yourself in a very tight rules, eventually you're just going to explode. At least the type of people we are. Anyway, this is for the plants. I think the last project I have to talk is this one. I'm going to talk very briefly about it because I think I'm going to have a separate video about it because since I self-drafted it, I think I want to share my process, explain how I did. So, for example, if you want to, I know it's not going to look as good with this one, but I feel like if you want to, actually, let me go change real quick. Okay, I'm back. I think I will make a separate video because I want to explain how I came out with this construction, how did I did my measurements, because I had many many redone with this project. I changed sleeves many times. I changed the neckline. I changed the width. I think I re-knitted this project several times. And I'm actually really proud of it. And the funny part, I was playing chicken yarn when I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to have enough yarn. I'm not going to have enough yarn. And I actually show you how much yarn I have left from this project if I find it. This is the amount of yarn I have left. So I'm actually really proud of this project. It's extremely nice, cozy yarn, and I really like this project. And I like this construction. I never had this type of cardigans in my wardrobe before. I never needed this type of cardigans. I never bought this. No, actually, I did buy this type of cardigan, and you probably saw it in my other videos. And I actually like this construction. So now I want to repeat it. And I'm still debating, like, is it going to be a summer project? Is it going to be winter project? But I really want to repeat it, and I definitely want to make a video about it. I think cardigans, especially for summer, it's such a great idea because if it's too hot, let's say it's a cool summer, if it's too hot, you can open it up. When sweaters, you have to constantly remove it, put it back on, remove it, and stuff like this. So I definitely want to repeat it. That's why I want to make a separate video. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments. I will include them in the video. But let me give you like a short spec of this project. So it's a cropped version. It's 42 centimeters long, which is 22 inches, and it's 56 centimeters wide, which is 26.5 inches. It has a 25 centimeters of positive ease, and again, the positive ease I count to the total circumference of this item. So it's around like 9-inch positive ease. The funny part, since I was playing chicken yarn, so I didn't know if I had enough yarn. Initially, I was playing to make it more like tight fitting, to have like a set in shoulder, and I will show you the pictures that I use as a reference. But then I was like, I don't know, because I don't quite wear, as you can see from me, like I don't really wear like tight fitting garments. So I was like, okay, I don't quite know if it's going to be tight fitting or not, if it's going to fit me well. So I just I was like, after I did like a second and third, I would unravel it and redo it for a second time, unravel, redo it for the third time. I kept increasing the needles. I think I started with like 3.5, then I went to 4 and ended up 4.5, even 5 millimeter needles. So eventually it's not as tight fitting as I was worried it has to be, and successfully I finished it with all the yarn I had. The weight of this sweater is 385 grams, so almost like 400 grams. And I even had to unravel some of the swatches in order to finish it. The gauge is 2 by 2.6. What else? The yarn. The yarn is it's a Laura Piana cashmere. It's called Super Cash. It was quite expensive. So for like 400 grams, I paid something like $80, which is like basically $20 for 100 grams, which is still cheaper if I would buy this yarn in balls. That's why I always buy it on a cone. Yeah, so this is probably like my most expensive, or one of the most expensive garments I needed, compared to where is this? Compared to this one, it was like $10. This one's 80. The reason why I chose this particular design, as I already talked in my previous podcast, I wanted it to be something universal. I didn't want to go with any crazy pattern, any crazy designs, because I'm like, okay, this is cashmere. It has a potential to last me a lifetime. It's very pleasant yarn. It's very like it's a bottle green color that can fit anything. That will not. It's not something like orange that you might feel like at some point I'm not doing orange anymore. So I feel like it has a potential to last for a while. That's why I wanted to have it more as a classic shape. You can see I embellished it with buttons, so I made the red buttons, but I also bought the green buttons, so in case if I get tired from these red ones, I will just switch it to green buttons, so it will just look more calm. I don't know, it's still gonna look calmer. Yeah, so the way how I did this construction, everything is self-drafted. The way how I figured out, what pattern to use, I found similar sweaters. They're like very popular, sold in some like luxury brands. And I zoomed in to the point where I could see the amount of stitches. So that's how I came up. So I just copied the same way. And then I did obviously my math for a shoulder slope, for the armhole opening for this. So I didn't follow any pattern, it was self-drafted, but it's not very difficult. I used, I don't know what's the English word. But again, when I make a separate video, I will explain. So this band, the button band is like, it's part of so I was knitted everything together. It was flat knitted from bottom up, and then I stitched up everything together. I even have side seams. Technically, I could have done like went in a circle back and forth, but I was like, I like to do flat seams. It's just easier this way. I did shoulders with a little bit of sleeve cap. I think it's like maybe 5 centimeter sleeve cap. To be honest, I don't think I needed any sleeve cap, because this thing is very, because I use such a high definition needle, it's very like drapey, very stretchy, but I don't know, it's still good. Anyway, it's like super pleasant, and it's actually warmer than I thought. because I never worn cashmere before, or at least I don't remember. Actually, no, I did have one cashmere sweater, but now I suspect it wasn't a cashmere because it kind of felt weird. But it's very nice. So it's my first cashmere. And now I'm thinking like, oh, I want to do more cashmere items. Yeah, it's very soft and it's actually warmer than you expect it to be. Yeah. Okay. I guess that's it. So I finished several garments while I was gone. I finished lots of sewing garments. If you're interested in my sewing, again, let me know in the comments. Maybe I should make a separate sewing vlog. I'm actually thinking about that because when I get into something, like for example, I'm extremely into sewing now. I'm watching things, learning things every day. I actually did a sewing course because before I tried to learn sewing on my own, and I realized like when I'm doing on my own, I just don't feel motivated enough. But I did a sewing course in the last couple of months, and it actually boosted my understanding of sewing. It made me sew so many garments because every week we had to sew a new one. So now I am like so inspired. I have so much knowledge. And the funny part that actually my sewing knowledge is now helping me with my garment construction for knitted items. I understand things a little bit more, or I can experiment with things a little bit more. So I'm super excited about that. If you want to hear about this cable sweater, let me know. And what else? I guess the next video will be something chatty, or if I disappear again, don't worry about me. I'm probably sewing. Anyway, see you in my next podcast. Either we're gonna talk about some chatty knitted relating topics, or maybe I'm gonna disappear again and you're gonna see me in the next vlog, or maybe I do something else. I hope I will not disappear again for a long time, but who knows? Life is weird. Anyway, see you in my next video. Bye bye.